Genevieve. I am a student recruitment and outreach assistant at the University of Chichester, and this is Being a Sports Science and Therapy Student webinar. With me today I've got 3 ambassadors from the Sports Science and Therapy courses. If you'd all like to introduce yourself.
I'm Amy, I'm a second year student studying sports therapy.
I'm Kaya, I'm a first year sports science.
Yeah.
I'm Paige and I'm a third year sports psychology student.
Brilliant, thank you. So the first few questions we'll go through is all around researching university. So what steps did you take before joining uni? If we go in that order that I've introduced you in.
I think to start off with, I was looking at unis during COVID time, so I couldn't really visit any unis, but if you do get a chance to visit unis, like really take the opportunity to do that, because you get a good feel for like the environment. But other than that, like I did the virtual open days, just did lots of research on the modules and chose a course that I wanted to do based off of the modules and what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, okay. And Kaya?
So mine wasn't during COVID, so I was lucky enough to go around and look, and I made sure I went to loads of places because I wasn't sure. I knew the course, but I didn't know the place, and in my opinion, they're just as important as each other. Writing my personal statement was really like a big thing that my lecturers at college helped me do. Other than that, yeah, research.
Okay, that's a really good answer. And Paige?
Yeah, so mine's very similar. Just a lot of research about, I'd say the modules are the most important when you're like researching, because some unis would be more tailored to like what you want to focus in than others. Also, if you do get a chance to look around, I really would recommend it, because I think that's another reason why I decided to go here when I saw it, compared to other unis. So yeah, very similar to the others.
Okay. So how did you feel about going to university, Amy?
I remember like moving in and it was like really, really scary, but like going the first kind of few months of like preparing to go to university, getting all my bits together, it was really exciting knowing that I was gonna like move out and kind of have the independence. But at the same time, there is that kind of nervous aspect behind it that you're not really sure, are you going to be okay on your own, and are you going to be able to budget well and stuff like that. But as long as, you know, with your parents or with siblings maybe that have been to uni, kind of discuss with them like how you cope, how to start learning how to cook little basic meals and stuff like that. I think that helps me.
Okay, yeah, that's really good. I think asking friends and family, especially if they've been to university, is a really good shout. Definitely can help calm your nerves. What's your top tips when deciding on universities, if we go to Kaya?
I think for me, it's knowing if you're going to be supported. So like I went to big universities and I just thought, I'm going to get lost. Like no one is going to know who I am. And if I need help, it's going to be so hard to get it. When I came here, I was like, okay, it's a decent size. The lecturers bother to know your name. And I think that is seeing how you fit in at the university. Same with the course, but definitely the university itself, if you work well with it.
Yeah, I'd agree for sure. How about you, Paige?
Yes, I agree. I think another thing is just like thinking of like, could you live there for 3 years or however long your course is, because obviously you're going to be there for the majority of the year. Can you see yourself like living in there, going to town, staying in these accommodations? So just like seeing whether it, as kind of Kai said, if it suits you as like personally as well as academically. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. So our top tips as staff at the university, everything you guys have said is definitely really good to kind of share. So we really push our open days, our campus tours and our taster sessions. The good things about open days is it's kind of free for all. You can kind of go around the university at your leisure, speak to ambassadors, speak to members of staff. There's also lecturers around which you'll get to speak to, so you'll get to get more of an idea of who will be teaching you and their teaching style and what the modules are in each different course. And the open days, every course that's offered at the university is there for you to explore. So if there's a particular university you want to go to but you don't know what course you want to do, it means you can explore all of those courses that are kind of in your mind. Or if there's a particular course but you don't know what uni yet, it means you can compare the course on offer to the same course at another university. Campus tours are really good as well, just because some universities are, well, all universities are different from one another, but some are extremely different. So Chichester is very different from Cardiff per se. So Cardiff campus is based over the entirety of Cardiff City, whereas here at Chichester, our campuses are either Bognor Regis or in Chai, and they're all kind of in one setting. There's a cluster of buildings in one place. Some students will love that, and that will appeal to them because it's that small community vibe where everybody knows each other, and you don't really have to like go into town or go from one building that's in one place and then 20 minutes down the road to go to your next lecture. But then there are students who will like the alternative, so it's definitely a good one to do campus tours. Taster sessions is another good idea as well, because if you've got that set course in mind, and again you want to see how it's taught, you'll get that example of a lecture. So you won't just talk about it with a lecture, you'll actually get to see a teacher teaching the lesson and get to see the resources, etc. So that will kind of help with what university kind of feels best for a specific course. We also advise students to test run their journey from the university to their home. So if you're going to be travelling in every day from, I don't know, your parents' home, definitely want to test that out. We've had students that have wanted to come from Salisbury down to Chichester, and it's quite a long drive. If you add traffic in, it could be a couple of hours. So we definitely suggest kind of testing what your limits are, whether you want to go quite as far as maybe some people do. You never know what everybody's different. We also say test run the journey from accommodation. So if you're going to apply for accommodation, we've got some based on campus, but we also have some based in town. So you want to kind of test out that walk from the accommodation in town to the campus, just to see if you kind of do want to live like that, where you're walking into your lectures most days, or going to get the free bus, because we do a free bus as well. So checking all of those modes of transport, and just making sure it's actually feasible for you, because everyone's different, everybody has different needs. We also suggest visiting the local area. That's a massive thing when you're a student at university, and it will kind of dictate the experience you have outside of lectures. And we also say to ask questions. So whenever you go to any of these events that we've mentioned, or if you're just sat at home and, I don't know, a really important question pops up and you think I need to ask someone this, send in an email. We'll go through our contact list at the end. You can ring up, you can contact lecturers directly, but we suggest making a list of what your questions are, taking them to your open days, taking them to your campus tours and your taster sessions, so you can ask them all then. And no question is too stupid. We get all sorts of worries and concerns and really out there things, so definitely ask as many questions as possible. Okay, so getting started. What was your first week at university like, Amy?
So I think it was Freshers Week when I moved in, so there was lots going on, and it was very, very different from at home. So it was quite a big adjustment. I mean, at home I'm an only child, so I don't have any siblings, and it was very weird at first, constantly having people around me. So that was a big adjustment. But I remember like texting my course group chat saying, does anyone need anything from the shops? Like, did you want to walk together? So I made friends that way. And then I made use of like the welcome week events that the university had put on at the SU. So I did lots of different bits to try and socialise, and not only socialise with my flatmates, but other people in the university as well.
Okay. And how did you find settling into student life, Kaya?
Mine was a little bit different. I moved in with some of my friends, so they helped me move in. But then I came here, and it was, yeah, like Amy said, there are people everywhere, and I really enjoyed it. Like, everyone was lovely, and then we had all of the welcome activities, and the best part for me was the introduction to all of my lecturers. So like, we just, in the whole first week, we didn't learn anything, we just learned each other. Like, the people we're spending the next 3 years with, really got to know everyone, got to know all of my new lecturers, which settled a lot of nerves. Really, really nice. Other than that, just trying to act like an adult. It was great.
Oh, that's really good. Sounds like you had a really good first couple of weeks, which is what we like to hear. What does a typical week look like now for you, Paige?
So I'm in 3 times a week. So I'm in Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Some days I'm in 9 till 5. Other days I'm only in for an hour and a half. But in general, you have like each module, you have 3-hour contact time roughly. So that can be split over like practicals, workshops, lectures, seminars. So you kind of get a variety throughout the week, and each semester it changes. So last semester I was in on a Monday instead of a Thursday and Friday, so it does change each semester.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next one. Those are all really good answers, and I'm glad that everybody's had a good experience kind of settling in and getting used to kind of the uni timetable. It's definitely not as scary as it sounds. It's way less than school, less than college. I don't think people have many lectures a week. It's mostly obviously independent research. That's very important when you're at university. So the biggest concerns before coming to university, the regular ones that we normally get are surrounding making friends, budgeting, coping with the workload, learning new skills, all those kind of fears of, I think, maybe people get a little bit of imposter syndrome, they don't think they're capable, and that's very, very normal. So if I go to Amy first, what were your main concerns before coming to the university?
I think for me, because I'm like quite a home bird, I like being surrounded by my family and stuff like that. It was whether I was going to want to come home every weekend, because I wanted to try and really settle in away from home, make sure that I'd almost made my own home in my halls that I was in at the time. So like making that really homely, and I think that's probably like one of my biggest pieces of advice, is make that little halls room like your own if you are living away from home, because it really helps you settle in and get used to the adjustment of moving away from home. But I mean, even now I'm in my second year, and even now I really like, I FaceTime my mum every day, and it's just something that I don't think I'll get out of the habit of. I just FaceTime my mum every day, say hi, but then I find that at first I went home quite a lot, but now I can spend sort of 8-9 weeks away from home without feeling the need to go home. And then the other one was, it sounds like really generic, but it was like I was worried about making friends. But like we said before, you're surrounded by so many people all of the time that you will find someone. And then I found my like group of friends. I found the housemates that I'm living with now. I met them in Freshers Week, so you will find people straight away.
Oh, that's really lovely. It's good to hear that you guys are still sort of friends with those people you meet in your first week, because that definitely reassures people that it's not that hard at all. I think because everybody's in the same boat, everybody wants to make friends. There's none of this, you know, oh, she's trying too hard, or, you know, people kind of being closed off. Everybody's wanting the same thing, and because you'll meet so many different people, if you don't click with someone on the first day, you might click with someone in the second week. It will happen eventually. In the first few weeks you will meet, you'll click for sure. What was your main concerns, Kaya?
I think for me, my main concern was, like, can I actually do it? Like, can I make it through the first 2 weeks? Can I stick at it and work hard? And actually, you come in and everyone, like you said, everyone is in the same boat, and everyone is freaking out just a little bit that if they can do it. And if you stick with it, if you find the people, which, like Amy said, the people I met in the first 2 weeks are the people I'm living with next year, it's actually like having the faith that you can do it and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And also finance for me, because my student loan was quite low, so it only covers the rent, so I've got to pay for food and transport and everything like that, which it was just balancing a part-time job and not recklessly spending. But that's something you kind of just have to learn, and it's everyone at uni does it, everyone makes it, and knowing that if you are having financial struggles, the uni has options for you to go to. But other than that, it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you've mentioned the finance one, because we do have options at the university for anyone that's struggling to budget or anyone that's having financial issues. I'll go through that at the end in more detail. But people always worry about student finance. They always worry that they're not going to be able to live. And there are always options. Universities aren't going to leave you out in the cold. We'll always make sure that we do the best that we can, and it is just it's about being sensible. If you need to get a part-time job, that might be something you should consider. Again, the university can help with that. Yeah, there's lots of options. We help with budgeting. So if you're struggling because you've never been in that situation where you're paying for your own food, you're paying for your social life, you're paying for your travel, we can help you kind of work out how to do it and still, not be in crippling debt. So what was your main concern, Paige?
So mine were very similar, I guess, to the other two. But I think one thing other than that, like friends and stuff, was just like the workload and assignments. As especially like within your first couple of weeks when you're like, right, this is your first assignment, you're kind of like, oh, what do I do? And I think you forget as a student that the lecturers have taught this before, and that they understand that first years have no idea how to, necessarily reference in this certain way or write in this academic style. So they do support you with that, and you can have as much or as little help within reason for the assignments and for work. You can book one-to-one tutorials with your lecturers, and they can help you that with your assignments or just work or how to improve it for next time. So there's a lot of options around that.
Yeah. Okay. So that was kind of it was the workload that was your biggest fear.
Yeah, I think that's, apart from obviously what they've already said, but yeah, that was another concern.
Yeah, that makes sense. We get a lot of students that have those fears for sure. What I say about the workload is kind of what I said earlier, that where you have less lectures, you do have a lot of free time, and it's about managing your social life, whether you've got a part-time job, and your research time. So we have a library that's got group study space, but also quiet study space. So if you need to get away from your flat because they're being noisy, or you just need some time to yourself to focus, there are those options. And what I'd say is always reach out to your academic tutors if you're in a position where there's stuff going on outside. of university that you can't control, and it's having a massive impact on the work that you're able to do and your, you know, emotional health. We have support systems. We have things like extenuating circumstances, which are in extreme cases, obviously, but there are those options there if you come to university and outside things occur that kind of put up a barrier to education. We'll make sure that those are dealt with, and there is student support for that. We have a lot of academic skills support as well, so if you just need a bit of help with studying and time management, there is support for that too. But generally the workload is obviously high, it's a degree, so you know it's a high standard of learning, but you know, you'll support each other, and you'll have the support of your lecturers. And at Chichester, where it's a small university, there's lots of contact with your lecturers, more so than big universities where they've got so many students that it kind of makes it difficult to see or speak directly with your teachers. At Chichester, it's very different. It's a lot more sort of close contact, which is good. So moving away from home and making friends, how did you feel about moving away from home, Amy?
I think when I remember the car journey so well, moving from home into halls. The car was like stacked up with all of my stuff that I needed, and I was squished in the back, and it was like petrifying. It's really, really scary. Like, I'm, you know, not going to sugarcoat it. It is really scary. But I mean, for me, knowing that home isn't too far away, only like an hour and a bit away, so that was quite useful for me, knowing that the trains are really good and I can get home. But yeah, it is scary. But I think I've already mentioned it. Just make your little room your home. You know, put up pictures, put up like little fairy lights, or you know, whatever you fancy, just to make it feel homely. Yeah, keep in contact with parents. Don't just leave them in the dark either, because they're just as scared and as worried as you are. So yeah, just try and make your little room your home, I think, is my main piece of advice from that.
I think that's really good. A lot of people say about leaving your flat door open in the first few weeks. So yeah, I like that. Good shout. And Kaya, did you live in student accommodation in your first year?
I did. I'm in my first year now, so I'm living in Pinewood. It's like a 10-minute walk away, and it's obviously very convenient, but it's sort of set out differently. So a lot of the accommodation is put into like flats of 5 or 6, and they've got their little front door and they've got their kitchen. Here, there are 57 people, and there's no flats, there's nothing, it's just floors, which I think is very good for sort of community. Like, live in a flat next to each other and maybe never see anyone from the other flat, but here I can see any of the 50 odd people who live here any day, which is quite nice, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what's good about small campuses and the small accommodation blocks, is that you kind of do have this little village community, so you all will get to know each other for sure. How did you feel about making new friends and meeting new people, Paige?
Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people worry about. I think that's natural. And as you said earlier, everyone's in the same boat, so don't be scared to kind of put yourself out there. For me, the way that I found, like, not the best way to do it, but the way that I made like most of my friends was not just through my course, but also through like doing sports. So in the Welcome Week or Freshers Week, there's obviously lots of sports and societies that hold tasting sessions, and I'd really recommend going to as many as you can, because it's a good chance to meet people who are on different courses, who live in different halls, and you can kind of meet people that you might share a common sport with or a common interest with. So it's nice to have that as well as your course mates, your flatmates, and just generally other people you meet around campus. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So move on to the next slide. So this is all around coping with exams and essays. What types of assessments do you have in your subject, Amy?
So yeah, just to reiterate, I do sports therapy, so it's quite a hands-on practical subject. We have like a combination of assessments from written exams, we have practical exams, essays, we've had to submit videos before. Yeah, so it's kind of across the board quite well rounded. So and it's not necessarily just one type of assessment for each module. You might have 50% written exam, 50% practical exam. So if you know that you don't always do very well in your written exams, you've always got your practical exam to kind of hold up or hoist your grade up. Yeah, so there's lots of different types of assessments. So I wouldn't worry if like there's one type of assessment that you're not as good at, because there's other types of assessment that you can excel in as well.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. So how do you prepare for these assessments, Kaya?
I'd say, obviously, depending on what it is, so the same as Amy, there's a broad variety. There's a lot of like coursework style, which includes lab reports or essays. If it's something that you know you're going to struggle with, like I know I've struggled with some, I've gone to my lecture and gone and had a one-on-one, and we've gone through all the points, and I've made notes, and I've gone home and then written everything up. Or if it's an exam, it'd be the same as A-levels or GCSEs. It's hardcore revision, get it into your brain. With practical, there's always the option to go into like the lab and do a practice before it gets filmed or assessed or anything like that. So it's just prepare is how I prepare, you know? It's actually be proactive and go for it.
Yeah, okay. And how many assessments do you have on your course page?
So in your third year, it's a bit different, 'cause obviously you have your dissertation, but in general, throughout my degree, each module you have 2 assignments or 2 assessments. So in first year, in both semesters, I had 4 modules. So each semester I had 8 assignments, so 16 overall. That was similar to second year, and similar numbers this year, but obviously a little bit less because obviously you've got your dissertation as well. But they try and make sure that they are spread out as much as possible, so you don't end up doing 4 in 1 week. Obviously sometimes you do have a bit of a clash, that's normal, but in general, you know, as long as you stay organised and on top of it, it doesn't seem too much.
Okay, thank you for those, guys. So the support that we have on offer at the university, we have quite a range. So we've got academic skills, so that's helping you with study, research, dissertation writing, referencing. Referencing is a massive part of all university courses. Any essays and coursework that you do, you always have to reference. And there are specific ways of doing that, so you can get support with that. We have chaplaincy for anyone who might want to go somewhere to pray. It's a multi-faith chaplaincy that we have, so all religions are welcome. We have a disability and dyslexia service. So that is for anyone with any additional needs that might put up a barrier to their study. It's a really good service. We make sure that we can support you and provide any services and resources that might ensure that you are on an equal footing with all of the other students that we have at the university. We have a student health service, so for any students that are struggling with any kind of GP related matters, first aid, all of those sorts of things. And then we have student money, which is budgeting, as well as financial support if you're in a situation where you're basically tight on money, can't afford your rent. Obviously we hope those things don't happen, but life is what it is, these things happen. So we do have kind of pots of money that we can loan to students in those situations, but again, it's got to be extreme cases, and we've got student wellbeing advice, so you in mind mental health, you talk counselling, so students who have any issues with maybe feeling isolated or struggling with the workload, managing all the elements of university, or who might be having those outside circumstances that impact their time, we have got counselling services, we have got people you can talk to, so you never have to feel alone, and they can give you advice on how to manage it all, and they're just there for kind of you to kind of rant to if you ever need to, if you just need to get things off your chest. When I was a student, I definitely reached out to the wellbeing advice team, and they were all really, really lovely, all had the time of day for me, so a really good experience. What would you say to someone considering studying a sports science or therapy course? If we go Amy first.
I'd say do your research, find out where you want to do it, why you want to do it. I think for having a reason why, having like a motivation behind why you want to do the course helps while you are here, like while you know, oh, I've got lots of pre-records of lectures that I need to catch up on. Having that why really helps. Yeah, do your research and make sure that you find like the university for you, that you're happy in the environment that you're happy in, and maybe also not always, but have a think about what you do want to do after uni. Make sure that it is definitely worth your time.
Okay, thank you. That's a really good answer. And then if we just do the last question for Karen Page, if you could sum up your time so far, what would you say?
I'd say it's a challenge, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of short and sweet. No, I like that. And Paige, what would you go for?
Yeah, I mean, very similar. Obviously, there's things that get thrown your way, and there's things you have to face. But overall, like, I'm glad I've done it. And I think not only like the academic side you take away from it, but also just in general is so valuable and something that I can't take for granted.
Okay, that's a really good answer. Actually, you can't take it for granted. What would you add to that, Amy? If you had anything to add?
Yeah, I've had like the best time ever so far. I hope like it continues. Yeah, it's hard work, and obviously like the girls have said, that you do have challenges that you have to face head on, but I think it sets you up for life, really. Like, you're gonna have probably more difficult challenges after university, so it does really set you up for life, and it gives you properly like good core skills that you need when you go out into the real world.
Yeah, those are really, really, really good answers. And just to add, if you have any questions or any concerns whatsoever, if you reach out to outreach@chi.ac.uk or studyhere@chi.ac.uk, we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you to our lovely ambassadors, and yeah, good luck with everyone's search for university.